You've probably read self-help books like this, Feel Good Productivity by Ali Abdaal or The Art of Thinking Clearly by Rolf Dobelli. Maybe in the past couple months, you've read tens of such books, but nothing has really changed, right? Maybe it did help you bits and pieces there. However, for the amount of time you have spent reading so many of such books, the benefits that you thought you should be getting wasn't there. There isn't a significant change in your life. I used to consume self-help books like an addiction. I've even created videos of the books that I've read and summarized it in under 5 minutes. But for the sheer number of books that I've read, nothing in my life has actually changed. Considering the number of finance books that I've read thus far, such as Rich Dad Poor Dad, The Millionaire Fast Lane, or The Psychology of Money, my finances didn't change significantly before I read these books. If this sounds like what you're experiencing, let me just tell you, you're not alone. After experiencing so many instances of such traps, here's what I've discovered on why self-help fails for you and I. First point, consumption over action. I'm not sure about you, but I feel that social media has made it seem like the simple act of reading books equals progress. We all heard of someone online telling you to read 1 book every week, 100 books a year, 10 pages a day, and it'll change your life. Here's the hard truth. It doesn't. It doesn't matter how many books you read. It doesn't matter if you spend every waking moment or every break that you have reading books. In fact, you could even make way more progress if you stop reading altogether. We are so fixated on the idea of reading books that we forgot about the true value that books are intended for in the first place. It's the gaining of knowledge so that we can start taking action. Progress can never be made if you don't take action. In fact, I made the most progress recently when I stopped reading that much books compared to before. I've even gotten to the habit of ditching books upon reading halfway, something that past me would never dare to do because OCD me would want to finish the book, even if it sucks. Focus on actionable things that you can do rather than the idea of reading. The moment you feel that you have gotten the key takeaway from a book, or you feel that the next 300 pages will just be a long-winded book, driving at the same point that you have gotten from the start, don't be afraid of the idea of just stopping that book and move on. We only have a limited amount of not just time, but mental capacity and energy. Be stingy with it. Don't waste it. Move on. My second point of why self-help books fail is the state of getting overloaded from advices. Usually, books don't just share a main point, but rather many takeaways that surrounds that one idea of what that book is all about. If it's about a book on how to get rich, it can range from tens of tips on how to conduct proper budgeting, all the way to tips on investing or how to automate your salary savings to the various bank accounts that you have to segregate spendings. In just one short sitting of reading, you are bombarded with so many tips that it becomes so easy to get overloaded from advices. This leads to what we call analysis paralysis, where you are paralyzed from taking action due to an overload on information. Combining this with the first point of consuming books over taking action, chances of you or anyone taking action is non-existent. This is quite similar to situations where you are trying to buy, let's say, a new keyboard. You did a ton of research, watched tons of YouTube review videos telling you what the best budget keyboard is. And then the next YouTuber tells you this other keyboard is the best budget keyboard. Now, you're stuck in this state of not being able to make a decision due to an overload on information. In the case of reading books, take it on a step-by-step basis. Focus on taking action. Once you learn something, try your best to see how you can immediately apply it. Sidetrack a little bit. If you're stuck on making a purchase due to analysis paralysis, sometimes less is better. If your research tells you that the Ola F75 is the best budget keyboard and it meets your requirements, get it. Don't go on this vicious cycle of researching like you are doing your final year thesis. Otherwise, you'll never make a decision at this rate. Time is also money. No point researching for the next few weeks just to save a couple of dollars. Moving on to my third and last point. Books promises shallow fixes. Books often say that knowledge is key, and with it, you can fix your life. They're not wrong. Knowledge is indeed key. However, when you couple this with people on social media telling you to read 100 books, it really means nothing. What was skipped by these books are the requirements of all the uncomfortable work that's required for you to get there. Knowledge is just the key for you to open the door. What wasn't specified was a road that leads you to the next door once you have opened it, and the effort that's required of you to get there. Here's my concluding thoughts. Books aren't bad. I love books. There's so much to gain from them. Experience experiences that you can experience without you actually experiencing them. However, you have to tweak the way you see and use books. Otherwise, you'll never get the benefits that you thought you can gain from them. You have to rid this identity of collecting motivation via reading. Focus on taking action. Focus on what you can work on immediately, not on how many or what books you have read. Before I end this video off, I just want to say I'm just a regular guy trying to figure this out too. If this worked for an ordinary guy like me, it definitely can for you too.